Το επόμενο θέμα παρουσιάζει το τελευταίο βιβλίο του συγγραφέα Γιώργου Χατζηστεργίου με τίτλο Exodus, A Contemporary Fairy Tale for Adults, που πραγματοποιήθηκε στις 8 Μαΐου. Έγινε συζήτηση για το βιβλίο του κύριου Χατζηστεργίου από τον Δ. Δημήτρη Παπανικολάου από το Πανεπιστήμιο της Οξφόρδης, τον πορτογάλο διανοούμενο Αντόνιο Γκερέιρο με τον συγγραφέα σχετικά με τις κοινωνικοπολιτικές εξελίξεις στην Ευρώπη. Στην παρουσίαση έλαβε μέρος και η ηθοποιός Δήμητρα Τζανιδάκη Κρεπς, η οποία άνοιξε την εκδήλωση. Ας παρακολουθήσουμε το σχετικό βίντεο με αποσπάσματα από όλους τους ομιλητές.
What's in a name? That's the title of the extract that I just read. So what's in a name? Is there a morning in a name? Is there a homicide? Is there a loss? A loss of time? Accurately. What's in a name? Is it a return to life? To temporality? Is there a chronos in a name? Or an anachronism? Is there a crisis in a name? Or an exodus? Is there a story in a name? Or the end of it? In Greek tragedy, exodus, is the last part that leads to catharsis. What's in this Exodus? The novel by Γιώργου Χατζηστεργίου, who identifies himself as a civil engineer who writes, with both activities feeding one another in terms of creativity and experiences. We have him here with us tonight, and he will enlighten us all, no doubt. But let me tell you that for me, coming both from a classical mythological background and from a physical theatre background, Γιώργου Χατζηστεργιu's Exodus is foremost a movement from the functional freedom of the prophylactic whiteness of seemingly perfect or paradisiac worlds to the true freedom of the theatre of cruelty and instinctual drives. A movement from the mental hypochondriacs of a world obsessed with the perfect circulation of messages to the disequilibrating, animated, opened-up space of a hacker's intimacy and body-mind. The movement from the interior design of objective systematization to the depths and perils of desires and cases. The movement from the hot and cold atmospheric sexuality to the warm and instinctual sensuality. The movement from synchrony to diachrony, via anachronism, away from both the imperialism of automated objects and the one of domesticated, romanticized antiques too. The movement, finally, from the narcissistic serial satisfaction of corporate alpha males or females, collectors of human fears, including their own, to the pleasure proper, grounded in the sweet aroma of a pregnant silence, or a plethoric human embrace, like the one in the closing scene of the novel. I leave you in the safe hands of Giorgio Hatζηστεργίου.
For completely other reasons, I would like to thank the Financial Times for some oblique reasons, because they help to highlight the spirit of Exodus, the title of my book. The whole thing started with a leading article in the Financial Times, a leader, an editorial, according to which the term Grexit is bad, is not suitable for the situation, for two reasons, according to the article. The first reason is that Grexit is linguistically ugly, which is true. And the other reason is that the term, according to the article, does not reflect the dynamics of the situation in Greece. A debate started, a very interesting debate actually, with letters to the editor, new editorials and all that, and the whole thing concluded that the right thing, the right word to reflect the situation in Greece is Exodus, which is actually a Greek word. Again, it did not stop there because there was a feeling that Exodus might be misleading because it is connected with the exodus of the Jewish people from Egypt according to the Old Testament narrative. So a letter came from two eminent academics. According to this letter, the term Exodus is right. It reflects perfectly the situation, the dynamics of the situation in Greece. But we have to clarify, according to the letter, that it's not the Exodus, the Old Testament Exodus, but the Exodus of Messolongi, the Exodus to Messolongio. Messolongi has been an emblematic town during the Greek Revolution, and during the revolution at some stage, the Ottoman troops surrounded the city, aiming to suffocate its people, to make them to surrender, and in that way to give an example all over the empire and more than that. The suffocation was really complete, but actually the people of Messolongi decided, though they were wounded, desolate, hungry, whatever, not to surrender, but to give the last fight, to try to break the lines of the surrounding Ottoman troops to go to fight for liberty, not to surrender. They succeeded in that with great losses, with huge losses actually, but they succeeded with that, giving a terrible message all over Europe, which in some ways changed the approach of the Europeans towards the Greek situation. It is very interesting to say that the exodus of Messolongi is very much connected with England, because the emblematic romantic figure, Lord Byron, not only joined the Greek Revolution, but he was in Messolongi during the siege. And actually he did not leave Messolongi, though it would be possible for an English lord to move out. He did not move, and actually he died there. Lord Byron, this emblematic figure, this romantic figure, I mean, I have to say personally that I like very much the English version of Romanticism, quite different from the German one. The German one, to my opinion, is very poetical, of course, but at the same time, I'm sorry to say that it's a bit pathetical. I mean, there is not a desire to intervene in the real world. The English way, the Lord Byron's way, and not only, is very much near to my approach, to my character. Romanticism combined with crunchiness, with a will to intervene, against all odds sometimes. So, this exodus of Messolongi, this combination of the Greek way and the English way in the face of Lord Byron, reflects exactly the spirits of my book. Of course, because suffocation is there, fights are there, and things like that. Of course, my book is not in a narrow sense about Greece, crisis in Greece, and things like that. It is generally about the crisis in the world, in Europe and in the world. It's about suffocation, the stifling feeling of being surrounded, of having nowhere to hide, the difficulty in reaching fullness and completion, which are the critical traits of a world in crisis. Nevertheless, I have to say that the characters of my book are not passive. We do not lament, suffocation or... the characters are not passive. They struggle to find the way out and breathe freely. In this sense, Exodus can be read as a contemporary fairy tale for grown-ups. Some say, I do not say that, but some say it's sort of urban epic, not epic with kings and queens. The real heroes of this epic, if this is one, are people of middle classes, mainly, middle classes, which is one of the endangered species in Europe of the 21st century. So it's a book about middle class, like me and you, dear friends. Thank you very much.
Walking on 3 legs. Today the woman is well beyond middle age, of course. At the height of her career, when she became broadly known, her age was indeterminate. She could be 60, 70, or even 55. The dirty, shapeless clothes and the faded headscarf, her everyday working uniform, concealed her years as well as her body shape, although the fat could not be disguised even if she wished it. She operated daily in busy and relatively high-income areas, preferably those with expensive shops, every day except Sunday, and only at peak times, which means 4 to 5 hours a day, never before noon. Before that, the only passerbys were dry, besuited men with briefcases, and those weren't her target public. And never after 5 in the afternoon in winter time, when it got dark and the crowds thinned out. She was mostly interested in the aimless bystanders who mingled with the shoppers, or in public servants who took time off their walk and strolled around until it was time to go home. How did she operate? How did she attract her audience? What made her special was the unusual approach to her trade. She wasn't one of those who stand in a corner and beg. She did not sell lucky charms or tissues. She did not try to tell your fortune, nor did she produce papers to prove she was ill. Her special trait was her 3-leg walking. She leaned her entire body forward and complemented her 2 legs with a black walking stick. Having found her balance in this posture, she began her special walk, moving slowly and striking her stick loudly on the pavement every now and then, clearly in order to attract attention. The process was accompanied by a soundtrack of whining and indeterminate utterances. Her corpulence added to the theatrical effect of her motions. The attention she attracted was all too brief, of course. Soon people averted their gaze, her agonizingly slow progress triggering their insecurities. There is no mammal, actual or mythical, that walks on 3 legs. There may be weird creatures with horns on their brows, with strange colors or stripes, but none of them is 3-legged. If you can't stand on 2 legs, the next stage is straight to 4. An odd number just won't do. The fundamentally repulsive motion, combined with the absence of any easy way to give her money, she wouldn't extend her hand, so you would have to put your own into her greasy pocket, made this a patently failed venture in financial terms. So, was this woman really interested in making money out of this performance? If yes, why didn't she change her mode of addressing her public? Surely, in all those years, someone must have pointed out a better way to her. Unless she was one of those obstinate people who, having found some other way to ensure their survival, are bent on imposing their own ways on others. Αντόνιο Γκερέιρο, who is our next speaker, describes himself as a nomad by choice and by circumstances. He thinks that the great crisis in Europe and in the Western world is not about jobs, but about identity. He believes our society is a postponed corpse that begets, and that Zygmunt Bauman already wrote the epitaph of our zeitgeist. Never have we been so fine. Never have we felt so powerless. Antonio loves the ocean and misses the sun. Don't we all? Doesn't intend to possess a cat, and he likes strong coffee with no sugar.
Although most of you haven't read the book, I think we have here a mission to try to in a way to try to make you read the book, because I think you should, and also try to discuss our daily problems, our society problems, in this forum that we have here. And I'm glad that you came, and I hope we can debate and discuss a few issues. As Dimitra said, I mentioned about Zygmunt Bauman. It popped up to my mind while I was reading the book, as I felt engaged with some of the characters of the book, and made me feel that I am not alone, although I am sure that I'm not alone. But how can a man from a different generation speak about problems that I'm much younger than Yorgos I'm passing through? So I'd like to say a few things. One about this great paradox that Zygmunt Bauman says: never have we been so fine, never have we felt so powerless. It's true that we are high educated, that we are living healthy for much longer. We can express our opinions freely, at least in the west part of the world. We are enjoying material comfort like never before. However, we don't feel that amazing. Although we have this material comfort, we are living, at least I am, a lack of spiritual comfort. Every day at our jobs, or in the media, through the media, we are told that in case of failure, it's our responsibility. They say you can make it if you try harder. And we think, if only I've done that, I could have changed something. And then comes the feelings of guilty, frustration, anxiety. And what I want to do tonight is bring some points, and I would like to discuss with you, to see if I am the only one feeling this suffocation that we see characters in this book passing through.
Thank you all for coming, and on this quite interesting day, difficult, I suppose, or I don't know how you put it. Essentially, it is a day where people like me reflect on issues that have been broached before by the other speakers too, issues about how economy influences our lives, how we sort of try to find other ways to talk about today's predicament, and how culture and literature might have something to say about all this. And I'm very happy we're having this discussion today. I'm very happy Yorgos is here. He's a public intellectual in Greece and often participates in the kind of public discussion about issues such as cultural heritage, which you might have heard, but also the treatment of the environment, the impact of new economies on the way people conduct themselves and the way people sort of come together, and so on and so forth. I hope we will have some time in the end to talk a little bit about that. I also wrote the book quite recently with great interest as well as other things that Yorgos has written. And it touches, in a sense, and Dimitra and Antonio have already mentioned some things. It touches on issues that are very also close to some of the things that I sort of try to think through recently. But before I go further to what I had to say, I want to give you a little bit a sense of what the book is about. It is, let's say, a novel that could be happening at a period that is not very far from now, but is not has sort of, in a sense, has characteristics that make it a little bit different, or at least a little bit different than what we live through today. It is that makes the book sort of come close to what you would call the fantastic, the fantasy. It has some sort of elements that these some elements anyway of the story make you feel as if this is a dystopian story about a dystopian future. Yes. On the other hand, there are other issues that kind of make one think that it might be more contemporary. In any case, we have this story of someone who's lost their job, a crime that has been committed, a killing of one of his former lovers. A number of other things happen, and we sort of get into the workings and perhaps to an extent the minds of a big company, all this ends in a big kind of sort of third part in which that company puts together a project in a Greek island in Lesbos, a project that is as biopolitical as you can think, sort of think Big Brother, but like 5 generations later. You know, it's Big Brother, it's kind of really made for the future. And they try to put together this in Lesbos, and all the other subplots tie in together, and you get a sort of a sense of an ending that is an exodus in many ways. In a way, it's also an exodus of that kind of world that strangulates the characters and also the inhabitants of that island.
Αγαπητοί φίλοι τηλεθεατές, αυτά είχαμε για σας απόψε. Στο σημείο αυτό να σας υπενθυμίσουμε ότι μπορείτε να επικοινωνείτε μαζί μας τηλεφωνικά στο 020 82 92 70 37 ή μέσω της ηλεκτρονικής μας διεύθυνσης info@hellenictv.net. Επίσης, μην ξεχνάτε ότι πλέον μπορείτε να παρακολουθείτε διαδικτυακά, αλλά και από το Rockbox, τη ΣΥΤΑ UK, τις αγαπημένες σας ελληνικές και κυπριακές σειρές, τις τοπικές παραγωγές του σταθμού μας, 14 ελληνικά κανάλια από Ελλάδα και Κύπρο, αλλά και πολλές κινηματογραφικές επιτυχίες. Πριν όμως αποχαιρετήσουμε, ας ρίξουμε μια γρήγορη ματιά στις επόμενες εκδηλώσεις. Την Κυριακή, 7 Ιουνίου, η Ένωση Περιφέρειας Μόρφου διοργανώνει barbecue party στο οίκημα της Αδελφότητας και καλεί τα μέλη και τους φίλους του να παραστούν. 12 με 14 Ιουνίου θα παρουσιαστεί το Λονδίνο η κωμωδία Τρόιτα ή Τρόικα με τους γνωστούς ηθοποιούς Γιώργο Ζένιο, Ανδρέα Αργυρίδη, Κωστάκη Κωνσταντίνου, Ντίνα Μπάρκα, Κατερίνα Ανδρέου και άλλους. Την Παρασκευή 12 Ιουνίου θα πραγματοποιηθεί η εκδήλωση του Hellenic TV και της εκπομπής Ανέσπερον Φως για τον εορτασμό της συμπλήρωσης 200 εκπομπών. Η εκδήλωση θα πραγματοποιηθεί στο hall της Εκκλησίας του Αγίου Ιωάννου του Βαπτιστού στο Whiteman Road. Είστε όλοι ευπρόσδεκτοι. Θα προσφερθούν και δέσματα. Και μην ξεχνάτε τη μεγάλη γιορτή της Παροικίας, που είναι η γιορτή του κρασιού στις 27 και 28 Ιουνίου, που πραγματοποιείται κάθε χρόνο στο Alexander Palace.
3, 2, 1. The legend is back.
Η εφημερίδα Παρικιακή, στα πλαίσια της γιορτής του κρασιού, περήφανα παρουσιάζει την Άννα Βύση Live. Σάββατο 27 και Κυριακή 28 Ιουνίου στο Αλεξάνδρα Πάλας. Εξασφαλίστε τώρα τις θέσεις σας για τον ειδικά διαμορφωμένο χώρο της συναυλίας με μόνο 15 και 20 λίρες. Τηλεφωνήστε τώρα για τα εισιτήριά σας στην εφημερίδα Παρικιακή και στο Greek City. Χορηγή επικοινωνίας Hellenic TV και Rick. Άννα Βύση Live.
Αμέσως μετά μην χάσετε τις ταινίες «Όλα θα πάνε καλά» και το ρεμάλι της Φωκίωνος Νέγρη. Τα προγράμματα που μπορείτε να παρακολουθήσετε το Σαββατοκύριακο είναι αύριο Σάββατο στις 7:30 την εκπομπή Ανέσπερον Φως που παρουσιάζει και επιμελείται ο πρεσβύτερος Σάββας Δαβίδ Βασιλιάδης. Αμέσως μετά στις 8 το βράδυ ακολουθεί η εκπομπή Αύριο είναι Κυριακή που επιμελείται και παρουσιάζει ο πρωτοπρεσβύτερος Ιωσήφ Παλιούρας. Αμέσως μετά ακολουθεί η εκπομπή με το φακό του Hellenic TV που θα σας παρουσιάσει την εκδήλωση της ΕΚΑ με θέμα «Οι τελευταίες εξελίξεις στη φροντίδα της εγκυμοσύνης». Την Κυριακή στις 7:30 μην χάσετε την ανανεωμένη πολιτιστική εκπομπή του Hellenic TV Τεχνόπολης με τους Ρίγα Γουλιμάρη και Βικτόρια Κωνσταντινίδου και αμέσως μετά ακολουθεί η εκπομπή Πρόσωπα με τον Βασίλη Πανεγή. Τη Δευτέρα μην χάσετε στις 8 το βράδυ την νέα εκπομπή «Ανάδειξέ το» και στις 10 μην χάσετε την εκπομπή «Το ταξίδι της ζωής» με την Αγγίλου Πέσκου. Την Τρίτη στις 8 προβάλλεται η εκπομπή «Δράξαστε παιδείας» που επιμελείται και παρουσιάζει ο πατέρας Ιωσήφ Παλιούρας. Την Τετάρτη παρακολουθήστε στις 8 την εκπομπή με το φακό του Hellenic TV που θα σας παρουσιάζει την εκδήλωση σχετικά με το θέμα «Promoting Investment, Partnerships and Trade between the UK and Cyprus». Στην συνέχεια ακολουθεί η ταινία με τίτλο «Ντάμα Σπαθή» και αμέσως μετά μην χάσετε την εκπομπή με το φακό του Hellenic TV που θα σας παρουσιάσει την εκδήλωση των φίλων μελάθρου-αγωνιστών ΕΟΚΑ Αγγλίας με κύριο μιλητή τον Υπουργό Εξωτερικών της Κύπρου, κύριο Γιαννάκη Κασουλίδη. Την Πέμπτη παρακολουθήστε το πολιτιστικό ημερολόγιο, μια εκπομπή με πολιτιστικό και ενημερωτικό χαρακτήρα που παρουσιάζει η Σουζάννα Καζάκα στις 8. Στο σημείο αυτό η εκπομπή «ΟΜΟΓΕΝΕΙΑ ΕΔΩ ΛΟΝΔΙΝΟ» έχει φτάσει στο τέλος της. Σας ευχαριστούμε που μείνετε μαζί μας και παρακολουθήσατε το πρόγραμμά μας. Περισσότερα νέα από την Ομογένεια του Λονδίνου θα παρακολουθήσετε στην επόμενη εκπομπή μας. Ας ανανεώσουμε λοιπόν την ραντεβού μας για την επόμενη Παρασκευή στις 8 το βράδυ. Καλό σας βράδυ!